Now, this is a new trend, and we are going to have to find a way to deal with this new trend.
A Home Office sting operation nabbed 67 illegal Pakistanis. Justice at last for Ackerman's victims. He faces life in prison for the rape and trafficking of minors.
The involvement was a deliberate manipulation of this sensitive issue to benefit the ANC in the forthcoming national election.
Taking on the Transport Minister for siding with the striking taxi operators. And what is Patriotic Alliance's Gayton Mackenzie's role in the Rivoli Zama fiasco? Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
This is Eyewitness News.
A sting operation targeting a widespread syndicate operating in South Africa. 67 Pakistani nationals have been denied entry into the country following their failure to comply with immigration laws. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says there's been an increase in Pakistani nationals attempting to enter the country without the relevant documentation and who make bookings at hotels that they never go to.
We decided that we now are forced to demand a transit visa for anybody from Pakistan. That's what we did. Now, this is a new trend, and we are going to have to find a way to deal with this new trend. There's no question about it.
Convicted child sex trafficker and rapist Ackerman has been handed 12 life sentences for the rape and human trafficking of minors. Ackerman was found guilty of more than 700 charges related to running a child sex trafficking ring. He operated in Johannesburg, where teenage boys were hooked up with adult men who'd perform sexual acts on them for a fee. Ackerman worked with prominent human rights lawyer Paul Kennedy, who took his own life last year while out on bail.
It sends such an incredibly strong message that you have destroyed lives. And in this case, we're talking about the lives of young boys who you lured to be raped. And for us, this is the only appropriate punishment for someone who has decimated children's lives.
Ackerman is also currently on trial in a separate case where he's accused of molesting an 11-year-old boy in 2018. The DA is threatening to file a complaint to the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Ethics against the Transport Minister, Sindisiwe Chikunga. The party is accusing the minister of siding with taxi operators in the violent taxi strike in the city of Cape Town last week. This after Chikunga called on the Metro to release impounded minibus taxis that had been taken off the roads for various reasons.
She openly sided with Santaku and the taxi strikers. Her involvement was a deliberate manipulation of this sensitive issue to benefit the ANC in the forthcoming national election. Her call for the immediate release of impounded taxis was framed under the false pretext of the City of Cape Town's amended traffic bylaws.
This week may be a challenging one for some teachers and pupils as schools in the Western Cape focus on catching up on time lost in the classroom. The strike wiped out a full week of teaching and learning with 852,000 learners and 17,700 staff members absent at its peak. Schools in poor communities were hardest hit by the stay away.
We simply cannot afford to lose one more day of teaching and learning at our schools in the Western Cape.
Learning more about the men accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa. Police officer Mantla Mabaso is the latest witness to take the stand. He is responsible for the arrest of one of the men now on trial for the murder of the Bafana captain in 2014. Mabaso says Mtobisi Mkube was arrested for the unlawful possession of arms and ammunition in a separate matter. This is even before he was tied to the Meyiwa murder. Photos and call records from the cell phone bagged as evidence in the Cleveland arrest have now been used as exhibits in the Meyiwa trial.
I requested phone book info contacts and images. The IME number of the cell phone, on top the cell phone number, the make and the model of the phone is Samsung model GTE 0020. And then the reason for cell phone downloading was to place the suspect on the scene and get his accomplices.
So, what was Patriotic Alliance's Gayton Mackenzie and socialite Kenny Kunene's role in the Zama saga unfolding in Rivoli? They were employed by Central Rand Gold to get the go-ahead from the community there, who've been terrorised by heavily armed illegal miners fighting over turf in their search for gold.
Our role was to get them the mining rights. That's what we did. And I left around 2009.
Gayton Mackenzie left shortly afterwards. In 2006, Central Rand Gold started a bid to attain a mining license to reopen a closed historic mining shaft in George Harrison Park. The operation opened up tunnels and shafts of the old George Harrison and Crown mines in the area, but never closed them. This has allowed the region to become a hub for illegal mining. Lead researcher at Benchmarks Foundation, David van Wyk, says CRG should never have been granted a license.
It was never a viable mine. It never produced an ounce of gold. It was mining pension funds and it was mining bank loans and so on. It never actually showed any profit. It never paid any dividends.
Action SA says the EFF does not belong in the Moonshot Pact due to its ideological views being out of touch with the majority of opposition parties. The Moonshot Pact aims for opposition parties to form a coalition that will wrestle power away from the ANC during next year's general elections. At least 7 parties will be coming together this week for the inaugural Moonshot Pact convention. During the EFF's recent diplomatic breakfast, party leader Julius Malema expressed sadness that the Red Berets were not invited to be part of it to help remove the, quote, corrupt ANC. Action SA National Chairperson Michael Beaumont says the pact needs to exist without the EFF.
You have to agree on setting the economic direction of the country and other important policy matters that are intrinsically ideological in nature. And the EFF's departure point is so wildly out of kilter with the remainder of political parties in the South African space.
And we leave you with these images of the newly crowned Miss South Africa 2023. Congratulations to Natasha Jaber, and I'll see you again for more tomorrow.
Eyewitness News, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or ewn.mobi.